Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Our service begins with Shalom Aleichem on page 142, using the page numbers in the brackets. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Borchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Barechuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Shabbat Shalom and an early Chag Sameach. It's wonderful to see everyone here tonight for Shabbat services at the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills. I'm Rabbi Mark Kaiserman, along with Cantor Emily Wygod Pincus. We're delighted to celebrate Shabbat with everyone here in our sanctuary and everyone joining us on the live stream. As we turn to this night of prayer that anticipates a weekend of opportunities to pray, we turn our hearts towards the concept of freedom. What does freedom mean for us? What freedoms do we need to hold on to? What freedoms are being taken from us? And we turn to our freedom to come here as a community. For the Jewish community throughout our history, we have not always had this freedom to easily come and gather together in prayer and song and learning. And we should never take that for granted as we come here today for our ancestors which fought hard to give us this freedom for us today. We begin our service with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. We invite Susie Gilbard to join us on the Bima, page 121 in your prayer books, using the page numbers in the brackets.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue with the Kiddush on page 123. Please rise in body or in spirit. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinkilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tekilah, l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Take an opportunity to wish Shabbat Shalom and Hag Sameach to someone around you. Please be seated. It is springtime, which the rain is telling us, but the weather is not, temperature is not telling us, but we still sing songs of springtime connecting to Pesach, where we turn to the book of Song of Songs and recognize the beautiful poetry from our Bible. And so we turn to our prayer sheets as we join together in Yonati from Song of Songs.
Yonati, החג והסלע בסתר המדרגה. הראיני את מראייך, השמיעיני את קולך, כי קולך ערב ומראייך נאווה. השמיעיני את קולך, כי קולך ערב ומראייך נאווה.
If you're looking for new words to share, if you have a significant other, you might try Song of Songs. O my dove, in the crevice of the rock, in the shadow of the cliff, show me your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet and your face is beautiful. We continue with Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath Bride, page 138, and 1, 2, 5, and 9?
Yes.
Verses 1, 2, 5, and then rising for verse 9.
Lecha
Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor
בדיבור אחד,
השמיענו
מיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד,
לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת שבת לכותנך, כי מכל הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה.
סוף מעשה
מחשבה תחילה.
lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומי אורי ומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise.
בואי ושלום, עצרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה,
lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. We turn to our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Page 149. We read together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravi.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימנוח עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Avat Olam, page 150.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגד יומם ולילה, נגד יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. Please be seated. Continue with the Via Hafta on page 154 together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך
וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Together on page 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Mi chamocha on the facing page. Mocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot os sefer malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze'eli zanu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. At our Seders, we recognize the 10 plagues as powerful moments in Jewish history of saving our people through what the Bible tells us were miraculous moments. And there's a tradition that many of us have to take one drop out of our cups of wine or grape juice as we say each of the plagues, because it reminds us that while we were saved during the plagues, the Egyptians were feeling each one of them. And while Pharaoh and his army may have deserved God's wrath, there were people who lived in Egypt who had no power to make change and were suffering under Pharaoh as well. And so we recognize in our lives today, there are people all over the world, in Israel, in the Gaza Strip, in Ukraine, and here in America, who are facing wrath beyond their control, plagues they cannot stop themselves. And we must always turn our attention to helping them find healing and wholeness. And so we offer Hashkivenu, which can be found on your prayer sheets, as we remember the need to find a safe and secure place with God above us. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukkah
shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 We continue with the Tefillah, beginning on page 164 and using the even-numbered pages only. Please rise.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Eyol, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, וחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך באמת ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללו כסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Together, you are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. It was never, by Rabbi Evan Schultz. It was never about the 4 children, but about seeing our children for exactly who they are. It was never about the 4 questions, but about living with curiosity. It was never about Dayenu, but about going to sleep affirming that today I was and I am enough. It was never about the matzah, but about acknowledging the profound fragility of life. It was never about the Seder plate, but about recognizing the symbolism in everyday things. It was never about the Magid, but about asking our parents to teach us their stories. It was never about the salt water, but about giving us space for tears. It was never about the plagues, but about recognizing where our broken world needs us most. It was never about the 4 cups, but about embracing life's joys. It was never about the Seder, but about seeking a sense of order in a very chaotic world. It was never about Elijah, but about believing that a better world is still possible. It was never about the Haggadah, but about tradition telling us that we each have a story to write. It was, however, always about the matzo ball soup. We turn to a prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, page 178.
Shalom Rav,
Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tov be'einecha livarech et amcha
Yisrael, bechol עת
ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We continue with our own private prayers.
So this is melody. Again, most of us know that we started singing at the beginning of the war against Ukraine because it originated in Ukraine with a Hasidic community and then traveled to Israel and became another song. But we sing it here in connection and support and hope for the future. Yai, lai, 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 ya, la, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 ya, la, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, ya, da, dai, 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 dai. Yai, ya, da, dai, dai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, dai, 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 ya, da, dai, 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 dai. Yai, ya, da, dai, dai, yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, dai, dai, ya, da, dai, 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 dai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, ya, da, dai, 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 dai. Yai, la, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 ya, da, dai, 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 dai. Yai, la, da, dai, dai. Yai, lai, lai, lai.
On this holiday of freedom, we recognize those who are without freedom, those who are being jailed without cause and due process. And we think of those who have been taken hostage in Gaza and are now having their second Pesach away from their families and from their homes. We join together in a prayer for guarding, redeeming, and freeing the hostages on your Shabbat prayer sheet. May God bless the hostages and all those missing and unaccounted for, who are imprisoned and in grave danger. May it be your will, God of all, that they be released speedily and return to their families and to their homes, safe and sound in body and spirit. Plant the power of hope in the hearts of their loved ones, frantic and yearning for their release. Bring wisdom to the hearts of those laboring for their release, and compassion to the hearts of their captors. May God grant mercy upon them and save them from trouble to well-being, from darkness to light, from enslavement to redemption. May it be swift and soon, and let us say, Amen. Healing comes in many forms. Some of us, healing is having diagnoses that is not as bad as we might have imagined, or recovering from accidents with full health. For some, it is finding the peace after a long struggle with pain and loss and illness. And for so many, it's that reaching towards that freedom from illness that we so desperately need. In our temple community, we're especially thinking of for a blessing for healing Queen Ariel Attias, Debbie Ball, Larry Bloom, Lawrence Brown, Jack Freeman, Arnold Gilbert, Barbara Gilbert, Arlene Green, Jody Ann Herman, Laura Kowalski, Brenda Levinson, Don Levy, Scott Scheidlauer, Roberta Traeger, Rochelle Weinberg, Renee Weisbaum, Joel Pikus, Carol Hoffer, Edie Weiner, Migdalia Feliciano, Fran Herman. We add to these names that are in each of our hearts. We offer up a prayer for healing. If you're thinking of someone particular in your life, we invite you to share their name out loud here in the sanctuary or add it to the chat on the live stream. For all those we hold in our heart for healing, we join in a Mishaberach for healing in the middle of page 371. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Amen. The Shabbat before Passover is known as Shabbat Hagadol. There are a number of rituals associated with it, but one of them is the Haftarah portion for Shabbat Hagadol, which comes from the book of Malachi, a book we don't talk about that much and return to, but it has some famous words that speak to the coming of Elijah the prophet. Now, as we know from the Passover Seder, we are waiting for Elijah the prophet. Elijah's not just a guy who runs around drinking our leftover wine at the end of the Seder. Elijah is the foretell of the Messiah. And on Passover, we wait for Elijah in the hopes that next year in Jerusalem, that we will find that spiritual freedom in the coming year. In Reform Judaism, we don't always think of Elijah and the coming of the Messiah as a literal event, but as a symbolic one, that we can create a messianic age, that we have the power within us to house, to feed everyone on this planet, to find cures from disease and safety from war, if we just turned our attention to that instead of the selfish things we too often focus on in our leadership and in our countries. And so tonight, instead of reading from our Torah portion, we're going to turn to our Haftarah portion, which you can find in the large Torah commentaries in front of you on page 1461, if you'd like to follow along, with Malachi chapter 3, beginning in verse 22. The blessings for the Haftarah that Cantor will chant are in our prayer books on page 372, if you'd rather follow along with those.
And you're, of course, welcome to join in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Haboker b'Torah Uv'Moshe Avdo, Uv'Yisrael Ardo, Uv'Nbiei Ha'emet V'Tzedek.
Page 1461, beginning in verse 22.
Zikru Torat Moshe Avdi Asher Tziviti Oto V'Chorev על כל ישראל חוקים ומשפטים. הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליה הנביא לפני בוא יום אדוני
הגדול והנורא. והשיב לב אבות על בנים, ולב בנים על אבותם, פן אבוא, והכיתי את הארץ חרם. הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליה הנביא, לפני בוא יום אדוני הגדול והנורא.
Remember the Torah of Moses, my servant, the statutes and ordinances I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal, to turn the hearts of the parents to their children and the hearts of children to their parents, lest I come and smite the land with destruction. And it's tradition to repeat verse 23. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. The coming week with Pesach is hopefully a time that there is some good joy in our lives. And so we want to turn to some simchas, some good things that are happening in our lives. If something good is happening to you, has happened in recent days, or is happening in days up ahead, we invite you to share it out loud with all of us, a good thing that is happening in your life. Raise your hand, tell us your name, and what simcha is happening in your life.
I'm starting April 5th with my 70th anniversary of my bat mitzvah. And tomorrow will be my anniversary of my children named Miriam.
Hi, this is George. We're going to see my son and his wife, Kylie, and their granddaughter, our granddaughter tomorrow for Pesach, for Passover, yes.
I'm Bruce. So my mom got released from rehab last week, so I guess we'll be able to have a Seder over at her place on a Sunday.
My name is Shayna, and I'm having a Seder at my new house.
Hi, my name is Judy, and my son called me up and said, Mom, could you make the matzo balls this year? I've never done it before. So I felt wonderful warmth and love.
Tomorrow, my friend Suzanne is letting me do a mitzvah by going to Atria and helping do a Seder there.
My name is Sage, and I made a new friend in the temple. My name is Sadie, and tomorrow I'm going to Barbados.
Well, I'll add one for me. If it all goes according to plan, over the next week, I should see pretty much every member of my family at some point.
My name is Eitan, and today is Amy's birthday.
So this is
is my first time here. My name is Jody, and I'm so grateful that my new friend Susie brought me here with her family.
Jody, we're glad to have you here. Well, speaking of birthdays, April is a good month for birthdays, I think. So we want to invite anybody who's having a birthday in the month of April, whatever number it might be, to join me up on the bima so we can all enjoy a little happy birthday. So we sing Yom Huledet Sameach for all of our birthdays. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday to all of us. Rabbi Eric Solomon, the rabbi of Beth Meyer Synagogue in Raleigh, North Carolina, wrote this reflection on Passover in honor of Rabbi Lucy Dinner. He wrote, "A few years ago, I walked down from my office to our synagogue preschool to talk with the children about Pesach. The oldest class was busily preparing for the holidays by learning to chant the 4 questions, make Seder table crafts such as little frogs, and even cleaning off parsley cloves that were homegrown in our fertile North Carolina soil. One little girl's hand shot up when I entered the room. 'Rabbi,' she began to ask, 'why do we make such a big deal about a holiday that is so sad? Being slaves was terrible. Can't we just forget about that part and move on to the happy parts?' This little one was pointing something profound. From time immemorial, the Jewish people has endured suffering. Whether it was at the hands of Pharaoh, Haman, the Romans, the Crusaders, oppressive kings and queens, the Nazis, the KKK, and Hamas, horrific suffering has been part of the Jewish people's story. The pain is so intense at times, it is reasonable to want to brush it to the side and focus on what is much more pleasant, like our freedom and eventual arrival into the promised land. But that is not what our tradition prescribes. On Pesach, we go back into Jewish history to remember a time when our people was broken to the core, so we can tap into our suffering and let it be a motivator for something greater. Brokenness keeps our heart supple so that it may be open to compassion. Just as we were afflicted in Egypt, so too may we be sensitive to the contemporary afflictions of the Jewish people, Americans of all kinds, and all of humanity. It's a bold form of brokenness, less focused on dwelling on our sorrow and more focused on transforming our agony into a commitment to working every day to alleviate the suffering of others. This year, when you break the middle matzah during the Seder, think of the Jewish people's resilience and strength to never be broken. We do not skip past our people's most painful moments, but use them to make tomorrow better. At a time of brokenness in the world, let us strengthen our resolve to empathize with the broken hearts of all of God's creatures and bring healing and compassion to each other. Chag Sameach. We turn now to the beginning of our concluding blessings, beginning with the Aleinu. We invite Molly Frender to join us on the bima as we turn to page 586 for the Aleinu. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula leotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam elkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu korim Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malkei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. Please be seated. We turn our thoughts to people we miss so very much. At our Seder table, there's an empty chair, an empty thought, as we look around for those who have been there for generations and who we miss. But we hear them in that song they always sang, and that thing they said every year at different points in the Seder, in the foods we eat that they used to cook for us, in the love they shared for each of us. And so we think now of those people we miss so very much in our hearts. This week marks the anniversary of the passing, the yahrzeit, of Molly Ashkenazi, Carolyn Atlas, Jack Bernstein, Anna Brownstein, Israel Chorberg, Kevin Dancher, Abraham Dollinger, Jacob Edelberg, Murray Feuerstein, Edward Fields, Bernard Gilbard, Judith Gilbard, A. Robert Gitlin, Martha Gitlin, George J. Gottlieb, Erna Green, Ethel Grotz, Hal Hodis, Mary Horowitz, Bernard Hyman, Bella Israeli, Stanley Jacoby, Max Jefferbaum, Morris Kaplan, Solomon Castor, Yehuda Kahati, Edward Kempler, Mikaline Kluszewski, Sidney Kuropatkin, Dina Lakin, Lillian Light, Sidney Levy, Joseph Lieber, Solomon Lieberman, Lillian Lynn, Elaine Matisoff, Molly Mendelson, Kira Resnitskaya, Nathan Rohr, Jacob Rosenfeld, Evelyn Rovinsky, Charles Sarfati, Benjamin Scharfman, Anna Schneider, Jules Schneider, Adam Shelton, Irving Sukoff, Alexander Teitler, Rose Tepper, Marvin Wiener, Theodore Weiss, Belle Weislitz, Ernst Wiener, Louis Zucker. It is with great sadness we share that this morning our temple member Elaine Wall passed away. Funeral services are pending. Much of her family lives in Israel, and we'll share information on that as soon as we know about the funeral and the Shiva. But our heart is with Elaine and all her family, a member of this temple and this temple community for decades, and an integral part of all of our hearts. May her memory be a blessing. And this week, we shared in the sad passing of Keith Gilman, husband of temple educator Faye Gilman and father of Danielle and Craig. And the recent passings of Emmanuel Shea, uncle of Gina Drangle, Edward Byers, father of Matthew Byers, grandfather of Haley and Samara, Inte Yu, father of Rosemary Yu, Robert Tuller, father of Virginia Weiner. We add to those names that are in each of our hearts. If you're thinking of someone in particular at this moment in time, we ask you to share their name out loud here in the sanctuary or in the chat on the live stream. For all those we hold in our hearts today and every day, we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, be'amah divrach haruteh ve'amlik malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh dekol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam ameh amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yata dar, v'yata lev, v'yata lal, shmei dekudusha baruchu. Le'ela minko birkata v'shirata, tushbekata v'nekamata, damiran be'ama v'yamru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yamru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort every broken heart among us. And let us say, amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'yimmeru. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. The words of welcome, our temple president, Seth Diamond.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi and Cantor, for leavening our spirits with a joyful service, especially as we prepare for the unleavened days ahead. Thank you to Yaniv and Mark for the beautiful music that always lifts our hearts, and to Andy and Juan for all they do behind the scenes to keep things running smoothly. Helene and I are proud to sponsor this week's Oneg in honor of all of us who have the dubious distinction of a Passover birthday. On paper, it sounds nice. Spring is blooming, baseball is back, everything is being renewed. But I'm here to tell you the truth. It's a season of sponge cake and angel food cake, and not the good kind. Our birthday cakes are dry, dense, and suspiciously resemble packing foam. So tonight there is real birthday cake for all of us whose birthdays get lost somewhere between the gefilte fish and the brisket. Please enjoy a slice now and think of it fondly when you're staring down a flourless confection sometime in the next 8 days. Passover is, of course, around the corner, and we'll be holding services on the first day of Passover this Sunday at 10:30, and then again on the final day, Saturday, April 19th, which will also include a Yizkor service. 2 weeks from Sunday, on April 27th, we'll celebrate our Torah and song with a beautiful concert featuring our own cantor and rabbi, Henry and Gina Drangle and Virginia Weiner. Details about this and other events, including how to vote in the World Zionist Congress elections, are in the e-blast and on our website. As we prepare to gather around the Seder table, I was moved by a reflection from Emma Ostman in the Wall Street Journal. She writes of breaking down the Seder as a child by its numbers. 1 cup for Elijah, 2 hand washings, 4 questions, 8 days of matzah, 10 plagues. But this year she adds new numbers. 59 hostages still held in Gaza, 553 days underground. She writes, together, Jews around the world will share the Passover story and remember the words that God spoke through Moses to Pharaoh. And for the second year in a row, this familiar, poignant phrase won't merely refer to our ancient story. Let my people go. So as we step into the Shabbat and this season of liberation, may we carry out both the sweetness of the tradition and the weight of the present moment. May our prayers, our joy, and even our birthday cake be a small act of hope and resilience. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
As we prepare for Oneg and opportunities to say hello, try to use the Oneg to find someone you don't know and introduce yourself and get a chance to make a new friend. We're going to do our last of the challah as we join together, and we invite anybody who's not quite yet bar or bat mitzvah age to join us up front for the motzi. That's you guys, come on up. And if you need an escort, that's okay too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Avon, bon appetit, and we conclude with Adirhu on the back of your prayer sheet. We won't sing all the verses, but I'll guide you through. It's the same. Adirhu, Adirhu, Yifnei Beito Bekarov, Bimheira, Bimheira, Biyameinu Bekarov, El Bnei, Bnei Beitcha Bekarov, Bet Bachor Hu, Gadol Hu, Dagol Hu, Yivnei Beito Bekarov, Bimheira, Bimheira, Biyameinu Bekarov, El Bnei, Bnei Beitcha Bekarov. Let's skip to Chet. Chasid Hu, Tahor Hu, Yachid Hu, Yivnei Beito Bekarov, Bimheira, Bimheira, Biyameinu Bekarov, El Bnei, Bnei Beitcha Bekarov.
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.